We humans are a curious bunch, often driven by forces we barely recognize. Among these subtle yet powerful influences on our decisions lies the fascinating psychological principle of loss aversion. Simply put, loss aversion suggests that the pain of losing something is psychologically about twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining something of equal value. This isn't mere disappointment, it's a visceral reaction that shapes our choices in ways we might not even consciously perceive. From the mundane decisions of our daily lives to the high stakes gambles in the world of finance. At its core, loss aversion taps into a fundamental aspect of our evolutionary history. In a world of limited resources and constant threats, avoiding loss was often more crucial for survival than seeking gain. The sting of losing a hard earned meal or a safe shelter could have far more dire consequences than the fleeting joy of acquiring an extra one. This ingrained bias continues to exert its influence even in our modern, relatively secure environments. Consider the everyday scenarios that bear the hallmarks of loss aversion. Think about that old, slightly worn out sweater in your closet. You haven't worn it in years and it doesn't quite fit anymore. Yet, you hesitate to donate it. Why? Because even though it holds little practical value, you remember buying it. The initial feeling of newness, and perhaps a fond memory or two associated with it. Letting it go feels like a small loss, even if keeping it offers no real benefit. Similarly, imagine you've invested in a particular stock. The market takes a downturn and the value of your investment plummets. Logically, cutting your losses might be the wisest decision, but the thought of realizing that loss, of acknowledging the mistake, can be so painful that you hold on, hoping for a rebound that might never come. This reluctance to let go of something we perceive as ours, even when it's detrimental, is a classic manifestation of loss aversion. One of the most famous demonstrations of this principle comes from the work of Nobel laureates Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky. In their classic mug experiment, participants were randomly assigned to one or two groups: sellers who were given a mug and buyers who were not. The sellers were asked the minimum price they would accept to sell their mug, while the buyers were asked the maximum price that they would be willing to pay for an identical mug. The results were absolutely striking. The sellers consistently valued their mugs at roughly twice the price the buyers were willing to pay. Simply possessing the mug, however, briefly created a sense of ownership and made the prospect of giving it up feel like a loss, thus increasing its perceived value. Loss aversion can also play out in more dramatic ways. Imagine a young artist, let's call the artist Anya, who has been painstakingly working on a sculpture for months. She pours her heart and soul into each curve and detail. When a renowned art collector expresses interest, Anya finds herself in a peculiar predicament. While she wants her art to be appreciated, the thought of parting with this piece, which has become an extension of herself, fills her with anxiety. Even if the collector offers a substantial sum, the emotional loss of the sculpture feels far greater than the potential gain. This emotional attachment, amplified by loss aversion, highlights how this principle can override purely rational decision making. The impact of loss aversion extends far beyond personal anecdotes and lab experiments. Marketers clearly leverage this bias by framing their offers around what customers might lose if they don't act. Limited time offers, fear of missing out of FOMO, and highlighting potential risks or downsides of inaction all tap into our innate aversion to loss. Similarly, in negotiations, framing a proposal in terms of what the other party stands to lose, in case they don't agree, can be a highly effective tactic. In conclusion, loss aversion is a powerful and pervasive psychological principle that significantly influences our decisions. The pain of losing tends to outweigh the joy of gaining, shaping our choices in everyday scenarios, investment strategies, and even our emotional attachments. Understanding this inherent bias can not only provide valuable insights into our own behavior, but also offer a framework for navigating the complexities of human interaction as well as decision making in a world where the fear of loss often holds a stronger sway than the allure of gain. Thank you very much for your time.